メガショックネオジオ。
出るんですか出ないんですか。いい加減本当のこと言ってください。ああ、これ一体何ですか。
その噂は本当だった。ザ・キング・オブ・ファイターズ94ネオジオ CD で新発売。 SNK。
Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we are taking a look at the Consolized Neo Geo MVS Cbox. Let's take a look.
So, what exactly is this thing? Well, it's essentially a Neo Geo MVS arcade board put inside a console shell. Now, I know that a lot of you are thinking, isn't that what the AES already is? Well, sort of. You see, the AES was sort of like a modified version of the MVS, which was sort of more like your standard home video game console. It featured a lot more features that made it like that, but with the power of an arcade machine. This is literally the arcade board itself put inside a console shell. Not a modified version at all. Well, sort of, but we'll get into the modifications it has soon enough. On the back of the system, you got component out, AV out, S-video, RGBS out, and JAMA in, as well as a 12-volt DC adapter port. For this video, I will be using the AV out so I can use the system on my CRT television, which is how I like to play my retro games.
So, when I first got this thing, it came in this cardboard box. Yeah, it doesn't come in a special box that's made for it. But when you open it up, it of course had the system inside. It comes with a super gun attachment. I guess if you want to hook it up to an arcade machine or a CRT via that method if you want. It also comes with these rainbow cables, and then it also comes with the AV cables. But I don't really like these AV cables because one of the cables on this was actually shorter than the rest of them, so that's why I just used ones I bought separately. And I didn't even know it was going to come with AV cables, but yeah, I guess it's good that I bought some on my own. It also comes with that thing, and I guess it's an RGB cable of some sort. Then there's a component cables, and then when you look over here, I believe that's like a Japanese D-terminal cable. So yeah. Is only like a Japanese video standard. Now, one neat feature of this thing is that it actually has Sega Saturn controller ports on it, but the big problem with it is this. You have to use original Sega Saturn controllers, and it can't be like the 3D pad either. It has to be an original Sega Saturn controller. Now, unfortunately, the only non-3D pad original Sega Saturn controller I own is the crappy US pad. But the main Sega Saturn controllers I used are these ones made by 8-Bit Dough, because you can find them easily online. And while these do plug into the slot, if you know how to force it in, because you kind of have to force it in for some reason. I don't know why with these specific ones. But even when you do plug it in, it causes glitches with the controller in the game. Like the controller worked fine on the Saturn, but it won't work well on the Neo Geo. So I don't really know what's wrong with it. It just doesn't like reading the these controllers. So if you're going to get this for the Saturn ports, make sure you're getting original Sega Saturn Japanese controllers, not the crappy US one. And also make sure it's not a 3D pad. Either that, or you could just eventually just get Neo Geo controllers down the line, which is what I did.
When you first boot up the system, you'll be greeted by the Neo Geo Universe BIOS logo before the regular Neo Geo logo. This is what I meant by the system is modified slightly, and I'll get into more what the Universe BIOS does later on. Seeing as how there's actual Neo Geo hardware inside of this thing, the games on it run very well, and play just as great as you'd expect. Put that with a high-quality Neo Geo or Japanese Saturn controller, and games that are cheaper than the AES versions, and you've got a very good alternative to the AES. Then there's the Unibios installed into the system, which allows you to change the game's region, listen to the soundtrack, change dip switches, and even use Game Genie-like cheats. Huh. Playing as Rugal. Well, it'd be rude not to try. Guess that I'm now in control of the SNK boss syndrome. Now, this thing certainly isn't perfect. I already mentioned the problem I had with the retro-bit Sega Saturn controllers, but I've also heard of people who've had problems with their SCART cables on this thing and their RGB. It apparently blew up some guy's SCART cables and RGB setup, but apparently to another guy, this problem didn't even occur. And I think with my model, they may have fixed the issue, but I'm not sure, and I don't even use SCART anyway. Now, another thing that might turn people off of this system is the fact that there isn't a memory card slot. True, these are arcade games, and you wouldn't really need one, but when you select the AES mode, when you lose all your continues, you can normally save your data on a Neo Geo AES by saving it to a memory card. But here, there isn't a memory card slot, so personally, if you're going to try to beat games on this thing, you may want to do the MVS mode. Again, I think to most people, this really won't matter, especially when you consider that these are arcade games, they're not very long. Sure, they can be difficult, but with enough mastery, you could probably get through them pretty quickly. In addition, the Unibios also has a cheat code built in that allows for infinite AES continue, at least on the games I have. So if you want to beat games on AES mode on this thing, then there you go. And admittedly, the AES should have had infinite continues on its games to begin with because it's a home console, not the arcade machine. One flaw I'd like to point out with this is sometimes when you turn it on, it doesn't even boot up into the Unibios menu. Like watch this. It just boots up in the regular Neo Geo screen, and you can't access the Unibios settings, which is kind of weird. I don't know why that happens sometimes. It just does. Bit of a strange issue, if I do say so myself. And sometimes on KLF 2000, it doesn't even show the Neo Geo logo. It just goes straight into the game. A little weird. I mean, you could still do that, but even when you click soft reboot system, most of the time it won't even. You see? So, yeah, I don't know why that glitch is present. It just is. It happens sometimes with this, I guess. I'm not sure what's causing it, though. So overall, what do I think of the Neo Geo Consolized MVS Cbox? Well, I'm very satisfied with it. It plays the games well and even includes the Unibios, allowing you to do so much more, such as switch regions, allowing you to play Japanese versions of games, which may have a lot of differences to the US version, and also allows you to change hardware modes, sort of making it like a cheaper AES with a cheaper library of games. Do I recommend it? Depends on what kind of Neo Geo fan you are. If you're more hardcore, then you probably would want the actual AES or MVS or one of the more expensive MVS consolized systems, as they probably are of higher build quality and might have a little less flaws, and you probably are more willing to spend a lot of cash on that stuff anyway. But for a more casual fan who's interested in just playing these games closer to their original quality, then I highly recommend this system. It can be found on places like eBay, Amazon, and AliExpress, which is where I got mine. In short, a great option for a fan who just wants to have fun with their library of games on original hardware. Just make sure you don't get too many games. Keep in mind that while yes, the games are cheaper, they still aren't cheap, if that makes sense. There's also multi-carts out there, which I guess someone could get if they wanted a bigger library of games to play, but I wouldn't exactly trust those, as apparently they have a lot of glitches. So I guess for most of your games, you'll probably want to get the re-releases on other hardware, but I definitely recommend this thing if you want just a few games to play on original hardware, or if you're crazy enough that you want to try the multi-cart. Thank you for watching this video. My name's Nick, and have a good rest of your day and enjoy your games.